Anthony Lolli, welcome to the Big Fat Life podcast, brother. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
It's an honor to have you here. Let me get right at it with you. You're a businessman, first and foremost. I mean, your business acumen is very high. You've had several businesses, and I want to hear a little bit about that. What is it about business that drives you?
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger was very disciplined in bodybuilding. He applied the bodybuilding discipline to Hollywood and business. I just did the reverse. Business, when I looked at everything and I compared business to my body, in business, it's always a crapshoot. You get better with time, you get more seasoned, you become like one of those sharks on Shark Tank. And you know what's going on, you know how to avoid the pitfalls, but you got to put in the work, right? So when you're thinking about starting a business, at least when I do, I think about all the work that's involved. I think about all the pitfalls. And once I flesh all those things out of my mind, if I still want to do it, then it's a good business model, So in fitness, this was completely under my control versus in business. Let's say, for example, you want to renovate a property, you hire a contractor. Let's say that contractor screws up, or the workers don't show up, or the material is not available. There's delays, people get hurt on the job, weather doesn't, so many different things that stop you from accomplishing a business goal. But in fitness, it's just you, your mouth, and working out. That's it. And your mindset. And that's something you can completely control. So for the first time in my life, even though I've ran many successful businesses and sold them and 10x them and everything, it always was dependent on an entire team, an entire infrastructure, and everybody running a tight ship in order for it to be a well-oiled machine. And it always required a lot of cash infusion to make sure that the ship was running and so forth. It was just me. It's just me, what I eat, what I think about, and the energy that I expend at the gym. For the first time, my destiny was in my own hands. And that's what I loved about this. But my business background, I've done so many different things, from a real estate investor, from a best-selling author, from owning one of the biggest real estate schools in New York City, to owning a portfolio of real estate, which I still own and manage, to being involved in Hollywood projects and movies as a producer and a money guy, and from having rappers come and use my home and my Rolls Royce in their music videos. I've done so much in my career in business. Anything I touch turns to gold. So when I said I was going to get fit, I said, if I attach my other passion, which is business, to my new passion, which is fitness, I'll be unstoppable.
Well, that's the thing about you that I find very intriguing. Even though this is a Big Fat Life podcast, and even though we talk about big transformation stories, and you certainly have one, and I guarantee we're about to dig into that, but just trying to understand your mindset at a young age, you were doing this, right? Like you were in your early 20s with this mind of I'm gonna make it. Is any of that have to do with where you come from? I know that you're a son of immigrants, right? Your mother was from Ecuador.
My mother being from Ecuador, she came to this country with $20 in her pocket. She lived in abandoned buildings. She worked at sweatshops sewing clothes, worked in a beauty salon, was a home attendant, worked at the Roseland Ballroom, doing coat check. And I remember I would go watch her do coat check, and everything was fine when people would come to the concert at 8 o'clock. But when they would get their coats, they'd be drunk and belligerent, yelling and screaming and cursing at my mom. Where's my coat? F this, F that. And all I did was carried a chip on my shoulder. Said my mom should not be working under these conditions, So that kind of drove me, put the fire in my belly to become so successful that I could actually take care of my parents.
So you got this fire, and it turns into successful businesses, specifically in real estate. Like you mentioned, you wrote a book. Let's shout it out. Heart of the Deal. Very, very smart title. I like that. And so you wrote that book about your real estate success. But during this entire time, as you mentioned in your documentary, which we will also touch on, there was something you weren't conquering. You were conquering the business world. You got the wonderful wife, you got the kids, you're obese. You don't have
Yeah.
you have no control over this at the moment. You're not doing anything about it. You're looking in the mirror and you're still not happy, right? You're not healthy. How did you finally get to the point to take that business drive and turn it into your health, survival, fitness life?
You know, you reach a threshold. There were points, there were moments in my career as I was obese that I kept getting more obese. I would buy custom suits, and by the time it would get delivered to me, I would be fatter and I wouldn't fit into them. So I would speak on stage and I couldn't even button the suit jacket that I just bought 3 months ago. And I was in South Africa speaking in front of thousands of people, wearing a suit that I couldn't even button. And at this point, the shirt, the dress shirt, which was already oversized, was already popping. And I come off stage, and the doctor, who, there was a lot of high net worth people in the audience, a doctor came up to me and she says, "Look, Anthony, I love what you're saying. I love your speech. Seems like you have everything, but you don't have your health. Seems like it's out of control." And she was right. You know what I mean? Here I am preaching about business, do this, do this, do that, but I couldn't even control what I was putting in my mouth. I couldn't even. So it was very hard it was a hard pill to swallow, that even, you know, the the bullshit stopped. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't bullshit people that were uh medical doctors that could see, man, you're gonna die. You know what I mean? You're gonna die. Like, whatever it is, health is wealth. I don't care about money or this or that. You're not gonna live to enjoy it. So so that was one moment. Then there was another moment, besides childhood moments, that I kind of buried, where when I was a kid, moms would bend on their knee and tell their children and whisper in their kids' ear, "If you keep eating, you're going to look like that fat kid right there." You know, they would do that.
Wow.
So there was a time I went to Miami for the book The Heart of the Deal. Grant Cardone, who's like a very popular real estate mogul and personality, interviewed me. He had me sit down in a director's chair similar to what I'm sitting in now. And this director's chair, if you're obese, you understand that this is not your friend. You know, if you sit in a director's chair, you know, when you stand up, the chair is going to be hugging your ass. It's not going to be able to come off. So, and the chair could possibly break. So, for the first time, I was sitting next to a peer, a guy who had money, success, fame, a beautiful wife, and beautiful children, no bad habits, and was going places in life. And he looked at me and when I was struggling to get in the chair, he said, "It's too late now, buddy. It's too late now." And that's all he needed to say. You know, he wasn't a rude guy, very nice guy. We actually just interviewed his wife a couple of weeks ago for our docuseries. But what he said was like, "Look, you know, this is my setup. You knew this was my setup. You know, if you're going to come, you got to come correct. You're going to come to play. You got to come to play. I'm sorry. I'm not going to change my chair, because you have this problem, and it's true. So, if you want to really have the four pillars of happiness, health, wealth, happiness, love, you got to have the four pillars. If you're missing a pillar, just like if you're sitting in a chair with three legs, you're going to fall. So that was me. I had it all, but I didn't have it all. I was wobbling. So I needed to make that change. And then the final straw was when my daughter looked at me and said, "Daddy, you're fat. I don't want you to die." And that was it. I didn't want to be an embarrassing fat dad for my kids. I didn't want my people picking at my kids because their dad was fat. I didn't want to go to the parent teachers conference with my wife and be the fat husband. I didn't want any of those things. And why should I be a burden to my family? How fair is that? My kid's going to want to live a nice life. They got to visit me in the hospital. They got to bury me. They got to watch me get sick. They got to get made fun of. Why? Why do I have to make my family's life miserable because of choices that I can control?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's something that comes up in the documentary, and the documentary is called Fat Lolli to Six Pack Lolli.
Yeah.
And you documented your whole journey, which is something that a lot of people don't necessarily do. I mean, you see posts on Instagram for accountability. This kind of goes a little bit above accountability when you're saying, "I'm going to film my journey and I'm not going to quit." That's extra pressure on that
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
First question, what made you decide I'm going to document this?
because I knew if I documented it, I was going to go through with it, because I never say something that I don't do. You know, I mean what I say and I say what I do. I say what I mean. And I also knew that it would be something that I wanted to put together to help change the world. I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I struggled so many times losing weight. And, you know, obesity has no discrimination. It attacks the rich. I mean, look at DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at Rick Ross. You know, sure, they both lost a little bit of weight. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, look at Oprah Winfrey. She's the face of Weight Watchers, and she still doesn't have the body she dreams of. You know, and she's tried so many times throughout the years. So it's not the money. When I was backstage, you know, I've been competing ever since the documentary. Everybody back there, you know, nobody's a multimillionaire back there. There's single moms, there's people living out of trailers, and they all managed to lose weight, you know, one way or the other. Either they hired a coach or they hired a trainer. When I go to the gym, there are people that are using personal trainers like I did. Remember, in the documentary, I didn't hire The Rock or,
Right.
you know, to train me. I hired a guy a Dominican barber who we became best friends, who, you know, what are they charging there? $30 a session? Like, it's not going to break the bank, you know, and everybody else uses you don't have to be a multimillionaire to be on a meal plan to hire a coach. So what I did with this documentary was I wanted to show people, because I felt like a guy that was blind and now I can finally see. And I wanted to help other blind people see, because I was blind to, you know, coaching. You know, it's really what you need. You know, I was coaching myself. I had the blind leading the blind. I was coaching myself every single one of those 9 times, reading a book, watching a video, doing a crash diet, this and that, listening to somebody who's obese telling me how to lose weight. Like, it was crazy, you know?
You know,
so
one of the things about business that I know, you're the man when it comes to business compared to me, but I know that the people you surround yourself are very important.
yes.
Who's going to be around you to support you through what you're trying to accomplish, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
You definitely had that. You just mentioned your trainer, Francisco, who I know it came up in the documentary, passed away tragically, but he was there for you in the beginning. You had, you know, Mike Fatboy Slim come all the way
Yeah,
from
these
Ireland.
are all people, brand new people, by the way. These are people I didn't know.
Right. You reached out to them.
I basically had to create a brand new circle, because nobody in my other circle was going to help me. And to be honest with you, a lot of them loved me. They didn't even, when I lost all the weight and the documentary came out and they watched it, they were like, you were fat? I didn't really realize, because I wore suits and I had a big character. Like, when you look at Tony Soprano, you don't look at him as like a fat guy. You know what I mean? So it's like
power.
You see power. So people looked at me completely different after the fact. They're like, you know, I didn't realize you were that fat, or you were fat. Like, you just carried it well, you know? And so that worked to my detriment, because as an older, mature man, I wasn't getting a lot of those comments. So the far and few between incidents that happened, like the Grant Cardone, the doctor incident, my daughter, those were like wake-up moments, because everybody else is singing me praises of how great you are, how successful you are. I learned so much from you. I bought your book. I bought, you know, I'm working for you. All this kind of people were tattooing the logo on themselves. You know, so much stuff happening. I'm getting awards. And so, you know, you start, I remember Carlos and I looked at each other and we said, we're going to die fat. You know, I'm going to die maybe at 50, 55 years old, but I'll die with a cheeseburger in my mouth.
Right. I mean, that's where you were heading, right? And then, so when you start this, you surround yourself with the right people, you reached out to to trainers. You didn't just start going to the gym, like, you attacked it. Like, it's a very important distinction, I think, for anyone listening, is that you did not, okay, I'm going to go work out for a half hour today. I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. And that's enough. And for some people, maybe that is enough, but not for you. What you did was, very quickly, it sounds like you went from going to the gym, hiring a trainer, to working out 3 times a day. So what was that mindset for you to go in and attack it to that level?
I wanted to conquer all my fears. I had tried CrossFit when I was in one of my 9 attempts to lose weight. And after 5 minutes, I walked out. And because it was too much, you know, I just got scared of it. I'll never be able to climb a rope. I'll never be able to do this. I'll never be able to squat. It was just too much, too intense. The burpee was like, oh my God, I can't do a burpee. And so I wanted to attack that. I wanted to also learn. I wanted to dive in and learn. And, very quickly, I realized I needed a real plan. I needed a plan of action, because it's kind of like, if you're a single guy and you're like, I'm never going to get married, and then you make that decision, I'm going to get married, and then you walk into a bar and you're like, I'm going to marry you. Like, that's the wrong way to do it. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people, they get motivated and they're like, they're going to do it. All right, boom. And then they realize that they don't have a plan, or that was a messed up approach. And then it all falls apart. So I said to myself, I need a plan. I need a nutrition. I need guidance. I need coaching, So when I went to CrossFit, I hired a CrossFit trainer, and I didn't do the group sessions. I did a couple of the group sessions, but I wanted the one-on-one coaching, and I want to be able to film freely and that kind of stuff. So I hired that guy to do one-on-one coaching. So it was me, Carlos, coaching with that guy. And then I hired Francisco, who taught me about HIIT. And then I hired Ed, who was a good personal friend, who was a bodybuilder, who was training me with bodybuilding. So I took those 3 approaches. Then I also tried mixed martial arts for a couple of months. That was too much. I couldn't recover from that, so I stopped that. But then I didn't put a lot of stuff in the documentary. I also tried marathon running, like jogging and running and all that kind of stuff, which was too much. I tried everything because I didn't want to leave any stone unturned. I wanted to really educate myself. No different than somebody wanting to join the military, right? Which forces do you want to join? Air Force, Army, Marines, Navy. I wanted to spend a week or 2 in each one of those divisions and decide which one. So, and I kind of like mixed and moshed which ones I felt were more compatible to what the body I wanted,
Yeah. Well, on top of all that, one of the things that we all know in this world of losing weight, of trying to make that change, is that all the workouts in the world is not going to beat what you're doing in the kitchen. And so you, just like in every other, situation, you looked at it like, I need to be educated on this. What did you learn about nutrition, about what worked for you? Because it was a game changer. It seems like once you got that nutrition in order, your body started rapidly changing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I learned that you could have gas in the car, but if it's in the back seat and not in the tank, you're not going anywhere. So what I was doing was putting gas in the front seat, in the driver's side, in the back seat, everything but the tank. And it was the wrong type of fuel if I did put gas in the tank, and it didn't last long. And so in order to burn fat, you need to do certain exercises. Your heart rate needs to be a certain heart rate, and you need to eat certain foods. And the foods really chisel out your body. What you put in your body. It's no different than a heroin addict that has yellow teeth, yellow eyes, and a skinny face. They're smoking. That's changing their body. The same thing. You eat the nutrition, it's going to chisel out your body. It's going to get rid of the fat. It's going to enhance the muscle. It's going to do what it's got to do to fuel your exercises and your workout. It's going to help you sleep better. It's going to help you lift stronger. It's so much. It's this food science. I always say, you don't go to a Chinese restaurant to order pizza. You don't go to a pizzeria to order Chinese food. I wanted to look like the guys that you see on stage. So why the hell wouldn't I do what the hell they do? You know what I'm saying? As simple as that. A lot of people, I'm at the gym. I see these people, they're doing all these exercises. I ask them, what do you want to look like? I'm like, they show me a picture. I want to look like this. This person does not do what you're doing. And they're not doing it in the way you're doing it. They're not eating the way you're eating. So, you have to do what they're doing to get to that result. As simple as that.
Can you give a few examples? Because I'm very curious what type of foods you might have been eating, let's say, like you mentioned, to help you burn fat or to help, chisel out your body. What were some of the specifics that helped you move that along?
The specifics were nutrient timing and portion control, measured grams, how much grams of proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Everything has to be measured because your body can only digest a certain amount of grams per meal. So if you're overspilling, the overspill is going to turn into fat, sugars, all sorts of different things. And also it's pre and post workout meals. It's also not being afraid to eat at night before you go to sleep. A lot of people, that's a myth. Don't eat, you're going to get fat. No, your body is still burning. So I was eating like 6 or 7 meals a day. The more I ate, the proper meals that were portioned out, the more weight I lost. It's insane, because when you start eating less, your body thinks you're on a deserted island, and it starts reserving and holding fat. So the more you eat, the body's like, okay, there's free flowing food here. Let's just burn fat. Let's just burn fat. So there's also ketosis. There were moments where I went in a direction, not a keto diet, but I was definitely in ketosis because I was having more of that versus carbs. And that also, a lot of people give up on ketosis because the first 3 days, your mind is like one of those boxers that have been punched in the head too much.
Yeah.
You know, you start
fog.
slurring your words and this and that. They tell you not to make any decisions. But then after the 3 days, your body switches to a different type of fuel burning, which is fat burning based on the ketones. So there's that. So I tried many different things, many different recipes. But I found that nutrient timing was the best. You know, what time I should eat, after what workouts, and what intervals and what portions. I mean, I would have sugar, I would have cereal, I would have steak, I would have rice, I would have eggs, I would have almond milk. The foods weren't really like out of control where I was eating green beans or anything like that. It was pretty much similar to what I was eating when I was obese, without the pizza and the cheese, of course. But I was having pasta as well.
So when you say nutrient timing, just so everyone understands, you're talking about that you were taking in carbs and sugars at points, but it was important where you had that in your day adjacent
Yes.
to your workouts, right?
Adjacent to my workouts, adjacent to my neat activities. I would wear a watch. I would make sure I would get 10,000 steps in, you know. So a lot of times, if you're a mailman, you're getting 40,000 steps in, you know. So you need to constantly fuel your body. So nutrient timing is all about you're eating every 2 hours, every 3 hours, you know, it depends. Sometimes I'm eating every hour and a half. It depends. So you have to be able to prepare your meals, pack them, bring them with you. I found that to be one of the easiest things to do. I prepare my meals, I bring them with me, and I'm good. Just imagine you wake up and it's freezing cold outside. You go outside with just your underwear on, no shirt, no jacket, no nothing. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to run into any store and buy any article of clothes, no matter how ridiculous you look, because you're cold. Same thing happens. You go out, you get in your car, you're driving around, you're hungry. What are you going to do? Look around. KFC, 7-Eleven. You're going to grab whatever you want. And guess what? Your body looks ridiculous after you eat it. So when you prepare your meals, you already have a schedule. You know when you're going to eat them. And even if you're invited out to eat, you eat before you go out to eat, and then you have a cup of coffee and you can actually have a conversation with your friends. So there's a lot of tricks, especially in the beginning stages, because I get a lot of questions from people that are going through it, because we run a weight loss company and a muscle gain company, and people are still trying to battle that psychological aspect, you know, and a lot of this meal prepping helps.
How would someone figure out what meal timing and nutrition timing is for them? Like, what's the best approach for somebody like myself? If I'm like, I want to know then what would be better for me if I wanted to say, look like you.
Very simple. What we do in our company is we assign you a coach, a specialist, a person that's going to work with you. So the first thing that happens, they have a conversation with you. They speak to you and they say, okay, what is it that you do? What's your day like? What kind of exercises do you do? What are your goals? Show me a picture of what you want to look like. Then we look at your actual body and we see what your BMI is. We take your height, your weight, your measurements, this, that. We see how much time you can apply to this journey. We give you a realistic expectation. Then we take a look at what you eat in a week. We take a look at what you normally eat. What's in your menu? You like halal? You like this? You like that? We vegetarian? What is it? Pescatarian? And then we take a look at it and we say, okay, these are your favorite foods. Which one of these foods can you live without? Then we take a look at what you can live without. And then we modify the meal plan based on the exercises that we're recommending you, the neat activities that we tell you have to do based on this is like a custom suit. This is a custom thing for you. So like if you're saying, look, I sit at a desk all day from 9 to 5, I take the subway, so I'm barely walking. And then when I have to pick up my kid at 5 o'clock, and then I have to, give him a bath, and there's a lot of moms, So you really can't get in those 10,000 steps. So we have to modify the diet, you know? And so we also work around what days can you go shopping? What days can you meal prep? How much time do you have to meal prep? Like we design your whole brand new lifestyle. But we also say, what are your favorite shows, right? So what are you watching? What are your favorite shows? And we'll find that a lot of people, they find the time 2-3 hours a day to watch their favorite shows. So we say, that's going to be eliminated because that's meal prep time. That's going to be eliminated because that's your 10,000 steps time. So we also take a look at some of the things that you're going to sacrifice. The price of success is how much life you're willing to give up.
Wow.
So that's what we do. So we base it around your likes and dislikes. We design a menu. We get your palate used to it, your body used to it. After 2-3 weeks, we see how you perform at the gym. Your clothes are falling off. They're like, you're getting looser. You're more motivated. You're feeling more energetic. And then you let us know you want to take it to the next level. Boom, let's take it to the next level. Let's tighten up this diet a little bit. Let's add this component to it. Let's add this exercise. So we take it in paces.
Yeah, it's no surprise that you took your journey and turned into a business, because as we established, you are a businessman. So doing that, helping, the quote unquote little guy, trying to get them on this journey is a huge feat, and you've been successful with that. I think it's one of the things about your journey, though, that I always think about, especially when I was watching that documentary. Did you ever feel, because you're doing so much workouts from doing no workouts, right? And you're changing your diet. You got all these changes. Do you ever feel like giving up?
Nah, this was to me like my own challenge. Like right now in my company, we're doing 90-day challenges. Where this is our second one. We give up to like $100,000 worth of prizes. People have won a couple last month. 3 people won. This month, there's so many people involved in the chat. So many people losing weight, gaining weight. They keep their eyes on the prize. We have a Facebook community group called Radical Body Transformations Facebook community group. They're all posting pictures of themselves like this. The documentaries inspired people that are obese, men and women, to take shirtless pictures and show the world, like, this is it. This is me. I would have never done this, but because I'm doing this now through Radical Body Transformations, I'm going to have to show you my after picture. Like, that's really what it takes. They're following in my footsteps, and we have the best coaches that coaching them, and they get that accountability, those daily talks. They're on FaceTime with them. But no, I never thought about quitting, because weight loss, think about it this way. If I gave you a job and I paid you $1 the first week, the second week I paid you $100. The third week I paid you $1,000. The fourth week I paid you $10,000. The fifth week I started paying you $50,000. The sixth week I started $100,000. The seventh week $1 million. That's what weight loss is like. Week 1, you're a little bit stronger. You're losing weight. You feel better. Week 2, the clothes start feeling a little looser. You start feeling more confident. Your face is slimming out. Week 3, people are noticing, hey, did you lose weight? You lost already 5 pounds, 6 pounds by week 3. People are noticing, Week 4, now all of a sudden you're 30 days into this thing. Now your body's used to it. You're adjusted. Now you're doing more push-ups, more burpees than you ever did before. You're pushing more weight. So every week you're getting rewarded. You're seeing results for your efforts. Who would say, I'm sorry, I need to stop at $1 million a week. You're paying me too much money. Like,
right.
I was seeing results. I was getting results. I was headed in the right direction. You know what I mean? So like, why would I quit when I'm already on track? Like that, to me, that was asinine. I'm like, I can't do that. I've done that already 9 times, and all I did was waste time. I learned from my mistakes, like, I'm not going to repeat.
Why sell the business if it's so profitable, right? That's
Right,
kind of
right.
That's kind of the thinking. You had a mantra almost. I think it's a mantra. Whatever it takes, whatever
That's
it
right.
takes,
Yeah.
whatever it takes. Is that what
Yeah.
sometimes you need to say to yourself? And like, because
All the
everyone has a
time.
hard moment.
I said it during the surgery. I said it during the workouts. I said it during the most painful moments. It's whatever it takes. This is what it takes. I did this to myself. It took me 41 years of food abuse to me, it's like, where do I sign up? I could erase 41 years of damage in 9 months. Where is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's great.
Was 9 months your goal? Did you have like
My
a goal
goal
of
was
like
6 months. My goal was 6 months. And had I hired a nutritionist and coach day one, I would have probably got there. But I did it on my own for 3 months and I lost the typical 20, 30 pounds. So my goal was 6 months. I really wanted to do 6 months, but 9 months is not bad. 125 pounds. In total, I lost 150.
yeah.
But in 9 months, I lost 125.
Yeah, you started this journey around 305, right? Were you about 305 pounds?
Yeah, it was 305. At my heaviest, I was 315. And that was probably like I don't know, a few months before I started the documenting it. I was 305.
Right. Now, you mentioned your surgery. So let's touch on this because you got to a point where you built all the muscle, you were working really hard, you lost a lot of fat. I mean, even with the loose skin that you developed, you still had a pretty built body. Like you could see it, right? You could start to see the six pack.
Yeah.
Something that I actually thought was surprising though, even though yes, you had the loose skin and you wanted to change that too. I felt going from 300, like you just said, 315 pounds to get all the way down to like the 190s. I feel like you would have even had more loose skin. Did the bodybuilding and the lifting help mitigate the amount of loose skin?
Yes. Yes. And it did. The putting muscle against the skin definitely helped it. It inflated my body, but there was only but so much muscle I could put on while being in a calorie deficit, losing weight and doing a lot of HIIT, a lot of running, which in and itself, HIIT burns muscle, makes the body lose the muscle. So my first goal was weight loss. My second goal was muscle gain. And those goals were fighting each other, because it's hard, but I kind of broke records in doing both. And, but I did the best a human could possibly do in the time I had. And I had to do the surgery. There was no other way because I wanted to have a body that would be on display. I wanted to be able to show my body and I didn't want to stop at the loose skin stage. And you know what? Thank God there was a solution for that. There's a solution. And, there's insurance, even though I paid out of pocket for it, you can get your insurance to cover it. I wrote a book about that. It's on my website, rbtshow.com. We talk about it's called a loose skin guide. It talks about all the different ways that the insurance can cover the surgery. So it's not impossible for you to take it all the way. And honestly, it was a lot of pain when I woke up, but it wasn't painful during the surgery. I was under anesthesia for 7 hours.
You went out, it was like over 7-hour grueling surgery.
Yeah.
Is that because you wanted to do it all in one shot?
Yeah.
I mean, because they attacked. What are the parts of your body? Obviously, your stomach.
They did the stomach. They did the chest by cutting my nipple out, lifting it from under my arm, cutting the skin and tying it. So instead of me having a big scar like a lot of guys with loose skin have under their chest, that's because they go to the wrong doctors. They go to plastic surgeons that mostly do women breast lifts. And women, when they do a breast lift or whatever, they can have that scar because their breast hangs over it. So they only know one technique is cut you under the chest. But hey, I don't have a male boobs anymore. You're gonna see my scars. So I went to 12 different doctors and I settled on one that only does men. And he explained to me this whole theory. And I was like, you're right. All the other 11 doctors were talking about you're going to have a cut here. It's going to be there. You're going to have to deal with it. But hey, at least, you're going to look good with a shirt on, because I want to look good with a shirt off, and I've had my shirt on all my life, even in my own house, in my own pool. Like I want to take my shirt off. So, and they finally had that solution. So they did like a keyhole thing, lifted me up there. And then I did a whole 180 on the waist. And then a little bit in the thighs.
Right. So, I mean, all those things helped to get past that next step, which was the loose skin. You mentioned competition. You just came back from a competition in England. You and your beautiful wife, who I think is like, based on everything I'm seeing, is your rock. I mean, that girl is there with you with everything. Now she's competing with you. Tell me about that world of competing, and what made you want to do that?
Well, in the documentary, you know, once I decided to do the loose skin and all of that, I'm like, what's next? The logical step is to compete. And I didn't know that they had transformation competitions specifically for guys like me that have lost weight, and you can show off. You don't have to have the perfect body on stage. And you be competing amongst peers, people that lost weight. So I said, this is awesome. It gives me a new goal. And I said, I want to look like I've never even transformed. I want to look like I want to look like I don't even belong in the transformation category. That was my goal. I said, I want to set records. I want to go on stage and I want to have a rocking body, you know? So it's supposed to be several months to cure, you know, from your skin surgery, you know, and during the actual recovery stage, the doctor said, do not go on a diet. In fact, eat like you were 305 pounds. So I got a chance to eat again, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, all that kind of stuff, because I was burning 3,500 calories a day just on recovery.
Ah, okay.
So I needed to eat those heavy caloric dense foods in order to give my body enough fuel to repair itself. So I got a chance to eat like that again. And I honestly didn't miss it. I was sick and tired of it. And I couldn't wait to get back on a plan. And I didn't put on any weight, actually, after eating all of that stuff. I put on 0 weight. And then I hit the gym. After I hit the gym, when I had 4 blood vials, because they're on your body, inside your body, to collect the blood. So they took 2 off, and I was able to kind of walk with the 2 off without pain. So I had 2 on me. I was hiding them, and I was working out in the gym with 2 blood vials, you know? Yeah. So
Against doctor's orders, right?
against doctor's orders. And then I slowly started recovering. And once the last one came out, that was it. I was running. I was full-fledged. I went back, and then I talked to the team, and I talked to Francisco. I talked to Ed. And I talked to my CrossFit guy, Joe. And I said, this is my plan. I'm going to compete. This is what I got to do. I'm ready to go all out. And we intensified the trainings. I even took on another trainer who's big on calisthenics. And he's in the documentary too. And so I went all out. You know, we increased the food. We increased the training. It was all mindset. But now I had a goal. I had a target. So I was unstoppable at that point. I just kept seeing myself on stage. I kept seeing the goal. And that was it.
How often do you compete?
Well, what happened was, in the documentary, I competed, and I was supposed to compete again at the Worlds, which was coming up. It's like the best Worlds transformation, but COVID happened. So because of COVID, I wasn't able to compete anywhere. Nobody was able to compete around the world. So I built a home gym, and during that time, my wife was becoming frail. You know, she was breastfeeding. We had 2 children. And she gave natural childbirth. She's watching me become strong and fit. She was inspired by me on stage. And all along, she had a diastasis recti. She looked like she was still pregnant, even though our son was like a year old. She had a belly and her abs were open, which happens a lot to women. And the doctor said, don't pick up your daughter anymore. It's hurting your core. And when she came to the gym, she said, I want to work out. I want to do this. She couldn't even do like lift up her legs and do flutters. So I looked at her and I said, listen, I'm going to fix this. We're going to do my training. You're going to train with me. And I'm going to show you. She took to it like glue. She loved it. And then she decided she wanted to compete too. She said, when the competitions open up, I want to compete alongside with you, Anthony. I said, I'm going to train you like I trained me. So get ready. She said, I'm ready to do it. And so I started training her myself, took her under my wing. She started following a plan, a nutrition plan and everything. And next thing you know, she's deadlifting 225 pounds, squatting 225 pounds. And once the competition started opening up, we competed in Orlando, Florida, both of us, April 10th of this year. She won her pro card in bikini. This is where there's other women that have trained for years. She's only trained for 12 months at this time. She goes first time on stage, wins her pro card. no problem, which is a very difficult thing to do. I go on stage, win transformation. I go on stage. She tells me, do a male fitness model. I said, I don't want to, I'm not going to be able to do a male fitness model. I'm not a male fitness model. She said, do the category. I'm competing against other guys that are actual personal trainers, been training for 10, 15 years. I take second place as a male fitness model on April 10th of this year in Orlando.
That's awesome.
Then we fly out and we do another competition. We just did one in England on Sunday, Pure Elite. I did one in Texas 2 Sundays before that called Summer Shredding, where we did transformation, which was amazing. Teresa did a bikini. She's there with 20-year-olds, 24-year-olds with no kids, and she's there placing, third place, second place. It's awesome. It's just an awesome experience, and then we're going to compete again in August in Las Vegas at the Worlds.
That's gotta drive you even further. I feel like as I'm getting to know you, and maybe it all goes back to business, you gotta have that next thing in front of you, right? Like you always gotta have that next, because life's not over. I feel like, are you the type of person who always needs that drive, always needs that goal, something to attain, something to grow,
Absolutely. I mean, right now, this business that I'm in now, this lifestyle, it's incorporating my whole family, my mother, my kids, my wife, it's amazing to be able to do something that's inclusive and my best friend Carlos is involved, and to include everybody. Even now, my secretary now is in shape, and it's different, in real estate. I bless people and help people with becoming very successful and financially literate, people buying real estate, running their own businesses. I help them with doing all of that stuff. Now I'm helping, saving lives, changing lives, giving people happiness on the ultimate level, happiness with themselves, happiness with their health, happiness with their spouse. So I think it's more gratifying, this thing that I'm doing now. It's something that I really love and I enjoy doing because I live it.
When you met Teresa and you guys got married, you were a big guy. You weren't going through this whole thing yet. Obviously, she loved you for who you were, and that was a beautiful thing. What has been the biggest change in that relationship now that you guys are competing together and have different, physically are both different than you were back then?
We're definitely closer. This fitness thing brought us closer together because we understand each other now on an ultimate level. When you can conquer, and, I didn't know things about her in terms of everybody has their own weaknesses with food. I used to think you just have to be fat, right? But they just have a little bit more self-control. Like when I was hanging out with my videographer in Texas when we were competing, and after every show, we get to eat whatever we want for the next 2-3 days, and you don't gain weight. So we just go crazy. It's good content and stuff like that. So we're going eating this, eating that, eating this, eating that. And he's a little bit not in shape, but he's not out of shape, but he's a little bit heavy, but not morbidly obese. So I'm like offering him ice cream, offering him this. He just took a little bit. He's like, that's it. I'm like, you have self-control? He's like, yeah, I do. I want more of it. But so because when I used to be obese, I used to say to myself, well, if he can get away with it and not get fat, maybe I can eat the same pizza. I used to rationalize it. But now that I'm fit and I hang around fit people, they're all watching what they're eating. They're all measuring their foods. They all have self-control. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, it's like, you're so ignorant when you're obese. You have your own thoughts. It's like, oh, wow. If you save $1 a day, you'll have $7 at the end of the week. Oh, wow. Like, these people, they watch what they eat. That's how they stay in shape. They don't go crazy. So my wife, I'm looking at her with some of her struggles with temptations of food and this and that. And I'm like, man, I didn't realize that, because she was never morbidly obese either, but she would share with me. So we bonded on a lot of different things. We got to know each other, and it's just amazing. The fitness really brought us even I didn't even think we could get any closer, but we did.
It's a beautiful thing because this, you've done other businesses. This business is touching your family, is touching your livelihood every single day. You're living through that. And I think that when we talk about weight loss and we think about weight loss as a goal, some of the mistakes, at least that I've made in the past, is not thinking of it as this is part of my life. Like, this is what I am. This is what I'm doing. I think when you do that and you ingrain it into your soul, there's success down that highway, right?
100%. I mean, you want to be an MMA champion? Guess what? You got to be in the gym. You got to practice. You got to take your blows. You got to anything that you want to do. You want to have a Harvard degree. Guess what? You got to finish all the school. You got to pass the tests, and then you get your degree. Same thing. You want to be fit. Guess what? You got to learn about fitness, nutrition, and follow it. This is a full-time job, but guess what? It's the job you're going to love the most because it's your body. It's going to reward you the most. I love it.
I think
and now I'm sculpting my body in this docuseries, which is a part 2 of the documentary that I'm filming now with my wife. I'm showing that every single show I bring a different look. I'm either more ripped or bigger or more muscular. And that's all based on food and exercises. You can make your body look however you want.
Tell me a little bit about the docuseries, because that's like you just said it's like a part 2, but it's like a season long of videos.
Yes.
What are you guys doing with this docuseries?
So we know the documentary did so well on Amazon. It's broken records. It's won several different independent film awards. It's been nominated like 8 or 9 times around the world at film festivals. And broken viewership records on Amazon. So they asked us to film a docuseries because that's popular now. People like watching longer shows. So this docuseries is going to pick up from where the documentary left off and show what happens after, because a lot of people can lose the weight, but can you keep the weight off? So we're going to show the world what I did, which is I put on 40 pounds on purpose to bulk, actually built more muscle, built legs, built the back, built a bigger chest, things that I didn't have because I was in a caloric deficit in the last documentary. And then it's going to show me crossing over outside of transformation, doing transformation. Is going to show my wife's story. It's going to show my partner Carlos's story. It's going to show what we have going on in the world of radical body transformations. And then it's also going to educate people about mindset, about what it takes, about food, decisions, so much more. It's going to be more educational than the documentary. It's going to be more about learning.
Yeah, one of you mentioned about competing as a fitness model where you wouldn't have before, and I reached out to you about this. One of my favorite parts of that documentary was a small moment when you go to your first competition and the other guy that's competing as like a fitness model looks at you and he goes, "Oh, a fitness model?" And you're like, "Nah, body transformation." And you show him a picture. The reason I love that moment isn't so much his reaction, because anyone's going to see your before and after, they're going to react. It's the fact that he was so impressed. And the first question is, "What's your name?" I love that because I feel when we see success in others, when we see something that we want to attain, strive, maybe grab a piece of that drive of someone else. So first thing we want to know, what's your name? Because I need to know you. I need to follow you, which is what, why we do this podcast, why we're want to introduce you to people that maybe, they don't know you. Maybe they haven't seen the documentary. It's an important moment. How did that feel for you?
I mean, first of all, I didn't even know we were filming because the lady said, "Don't film because it's the tanning room." So the director, Keith, had the camera. He was holding it like this, but he kept it rolling. Yeah. So I was like, I hope he's getting this because this is great. And first of all, it was just for me. He said, because there's a category called muscle model. And so he, when you're backstage, you don't know who's who, and you want to kind of size up your competition to see, oh shit, am I going to place first, second, third? Like, sometimes you already know if you look at somebody else's body, you're like, oh, if their posing is on point, they beat me, So, I think he wanted to know, he thought I was in his category, which is muscle model, which to even be confused as a muscle model is like such an honor. Like, oh my God. And this guy was ripped. He's jacked, So, and I said, no, transformation. And he was like, whoa. And I showed him the picture and he was like, "What's your name?" And I said, Anthony Lolli. And we put it in the trailer of the documentary. And it's like such an epic moment for me because I talk about it in a documentary. I didn't know I looked like that until the day before we left to compete. We did a shirtless video shoot and photo shoot at a gym in Manhattan. It used to be the Limelight nightclub, and then it turned into a fancy gym. So we did a photo shoot, video shoot, and the director's showing me the pictures and the videos. I'm like, that's me? I can't believe it, you know? And it dawned on me, like, yeah, that's me. And so like when I used to do jump rope, I remember Francisco used to make me do jump rope. We would do 10 minutes of jump rope. If I would do it and I would run out of breath after 10 jumps, then Francisco would say, take off your shirt, stand in front of the mirror and do the jump rope. I would take off my shirt, stand in front of the mirror, look at myself, 10 minutes straight jump roping. The psychological damage of being obese so long is when I was jumping, even though I looked like this, I felt like I was like this because I was like that all my life. So I would run out of breath and it was a mental thing. So he would put me in front of the mirror without a shirt to say, man, you're not that guy anymore, you know? And it took a while before I realized I'm not that guy anymore, you know? And so now there's so much distance between that guy and who I am now. And my wife looked at me not too long ago. She says, you know, you're never going back to that guy. You're never going to go back to that guy. She sees how I'm able to turn the switch on, turn the switch off. Like just recently we competed on Sunday and then I took in like 18,900 calories in 3 days, you know, like nothing. It was like I was literally eating every hour and filming it. It was good content and nothing. I stepped on the scale this morning like it didn't even happen. It's just so crazy. And the reason why I took in all those calories is because I'm actually doing an NPC show, which is a hardcore bodybuilding show. This show in England, it's more runway model, fashion model. You got to kind of have like a beach body, a little bit thinner, not so muscular. You can't really be like a Hulk there. This show that I'm doing, NPC show, you got to have muscle. So I needed to take in a lot of calories really quick. And then really fill out. And now I'm going to train hard and then I'm going to lose, shred up a little bit. And then I have my show in August, which is in Las Vegas, which is the same one that I did in the documentary, but this is the one that I was gunning for, which is the Worlds. I'm going to be competing with other national winners from around the world. We're all competing. So this is the best of the best transformation stories all competing in Las Vegas at the World's competition that I'm doing in August. So I'm going to compete in Connecticut on the 24th, and then I'm going to fly out to Vegas. So I got to decide what kind of body I want to have for the World's competition. I already know I got to be huge for Connecticut, but now I got to decide whether I got to trim up. And it's to be able to say that, to be able to do that, it's like a miracle. You know what I mean? Like to come from where I came from to say, okay, what do I want to look like the next show? To have that kind of control over food and exercises in your body, where it's like, again, I feel like a guy that was in a wheelchair, had no legs. Now all of a sudden, where do you want to run today, Anthony? Like it's a whole nother world. I love it.
Mentally, it's clear that this journey has changed you, right? Like mentally, how you approach things. Do you feel stronger mentally, even though you had to have a mental mindset, or a strong mental mindset back when you just, did your real estate business? You see that change in you?
Yeah, there's so much clarity now. It's, there's what's that movie where the guy takes the pill and he's sharp and he sees everything? I forgot what it's called. It's a famous movie. But I feel that way. I feel like I like the Matrix, like I could see things so clear now, and I want to help people. That's my thing now, like there are people that are so hard-headed. But what I learned, one thing is that when I do these 90-day challenges and I created my own world for myself, I'm surrounded around peers, everybody that's in radical body transformations, clients, contestants, people that are competing, they all motivate and inspire me. The man with no shoes felt bad for himself until he saw the man with no feet. I see people 500 pounds, 400 pounds, getting up, sweating, working out, losing weight, losing 200 pounds, all through our system, 300 pounds, taking off their shirt, looking great, taking selfies, being confident, doing stuff with their spouse or their significant other. It's amazing. We're turning clients into coaches now. Like, there's so much going on in our world. I'm so proud of it. And I'm surrounded around people. Like, when I wake up and I look on Instagram or I look on Facebook, it's all people that we've motivated that are part of Radical Body Transformations, that are in the gym working out, posting positive things, posting exercises, showing their before and their after and their during. They're doing the challenges. They're saying positive things. They're going through their own demons. They're fighting their own battles. They're doing their own journeys. They have their own hurdles, but they're getting through it. And that pushes me.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, you were the product of this company, basically, because everything's focused on you, and now you can push that on everyone else, and you have all these other. And it's the fruits of the success. You started that off, but all these people are succeeding in their own right. I know I gotta let you go soon. Before I do this with every guest. I gotta ask you the big fat 5 questions.
Okay, go.
All right, favorite food.
My favorite food. Well, it depends. I mean, I love skirt steak. I really love skirt steak. Skirt steak and rice is my favorite.
Man, you live in Brooklyn and you didn't say pizza. I'm a little disappointed. No, but I feel you on that. Favorite activity? What besides? I mean, it could be the gym, but even if you're not thinking about your workouts or anything, what's the favorite thing to do that brings you joy?
I love taking the kids out to a restaurant or taking the kids and the family out for a walk, but I like the restaurant. Even though I don't eat in them now, I have a coffee or espresso. They love it. They we just hang out and it's just quality time. And I like to go to different restaurants, like fancy ones, or now that everything is outdoor seating, just be there and just people watch. I love that.
So you actually got to that point. I mean, I know you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but you go to a restaurant, you have, no matter how many people are with you, and you've already ate and you're just going to have your espresso and coffee and enjoy the time, and you're not even eating.
That's it. I'll have a Coke Zero, 0-calorie Coca-Cola, ice water. But I come in there full. Like today I have a business meeting with a Hollywood producer. We're going to pick him up and he's going to eat. He's not on a diet. We're going to take him out to eat. We're already going to go in. My wife and I, we're going to go in already full and have coffee and Coke Zero. That's it.
Whatever works, right? Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that motivates you in terms of like a book, movie, TV show that you sometimes use to draw some inspiration?
My favorite show was Billions for a while because I want my son to be a hedge fund manager. I love Billions. Motivation is what I said, the Radical Body Transformations community. I'm meeting total strangers that I've never met before that are not only doing business with Radical Body Transformations, wearing the clothes. I have total strangers. This logo we just invented a year ago. Now there's thousands of people around the world wearing this logo, this shirt, pants, hats, jackets, bags, you name it, representing the brand. That feels incredible. Losing weight. So my biggest inspiration is to go on social media and just watch them go at it on something that myself, Carlos, and James, like we just invented. And we put our heart into it and now they're running with it. So that's like my favorite show really to watch.
That's beautiful. Best piece of advice that either you might have received from someone or something that you've taken as your own and you use that with people.
Best piece of advice is get a coach. It's not that expensive. Don't listen to yourself. Listen to a coach. You need a body transformation coach. If you want to do a body transformation, you need a body transformation coach. If you want to go to a trade school, if you want to get your barber's license, you need to be taught how to cut hair. People need to teach you. You need to be taught how to manage foods. You cannot do it on your own. You just cannot, and drug addicts go to rehab. They go to therapy, whatever, Alcoholics Anonymous. We have a problem. It's a food problem. It's an addiction. And you need this kind of help. And it's not as bad or as embarrassing. This is like, I'm going to get a coach. Think about it. Floyd Mayweather, undefeated, still has a coach. You know what I mean? The biggest, there's an ESPY award happening right now in New York. All the top athletes, they all have multiple coaches. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. You should really get a coach. That's something what we provide in our company. But in general, whether you use us or not, you need a coach. If you don't have a coach, you're not gonna lose weight. You're just not. It's not gonna be sustainable.
I mean, there are people that I see that have lost the weight and held on to that weight loss. But I think what we're talking about here is having that ultimate transformation, right? Like if you're trying, everyone's got a vision in their mind of what they want to be. I think what you're saying is, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you want to be what you aspire to be, you need help getting there.
You listen, I'm just the kind of person where like, look, I'm not going to take a job and tell the boss, just stop at $15 an hour. Don't pay me any more than that. Like, I don't understand this. This is your body. Why would you not want to be able to take off your shirt and do something that other people can do? Why do you have to say, well, no, I just want to look good in my clothes? But no, but if you could do it the other way, you would go all out. So why hold yourself back when all it takes is a little coaching and guidance? Do it once in your life. Do it once, because you're going to be older longer than you're going to be younger. So live it. You know what I mean? It's called a limiting belief. A lot of people put limiting beliefs on themselves. So, I don't believe in that. I believe that with the right guidance, and I've seen it, not because I've done it. I've seen people with very little means through my company go from point A to Z and look incredible.
All right. I mean, I feel like you just gave us a little business advice with that too. Don't have those limiting beliefs when you're trying to succeed. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. What do you want to achieve moving forward? What are your goals?
The goal is to lose 1 million pounds around the world. The goal is to really increase our footprint. Even though we're an international company, we want to be able to take on coaches that speak different languages. Right now we have Spanish, we have Egyptian, obviously English, but we'd like to conquer. We're in 52 languages. The documentary and the docu-series will also be in 52 languages. So we want to be able to help people that we really can't help now. We got so many leads from other languages. We just don't have coaches that speak that language. So we like to have a radical body transformations team in all parts of the world, because obesity is a worldwide problem and people want that kind of help.
All right, man. That's a lofty goal, but I have no doubts that you can get there. Before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity for anyone listening to reach out to you, maybe look at your company. How are some of the ways that we can do that?
They can go to rbtshow.com, Radical Body Transformations. So it says rbtshow.com. That's our website. You can follow me on social media, Anthony Lolli, ANTHONY LOLLI, Lolli like lollipop. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, any social media that hasn't been invented yet. When it's there, I'll be on there too. Trust me. So, those are the main portals right there. Those two things, we're always on that. And if you haven't watched the documentary, it's From Fat Lolli to Six Pack Lolli. Just type in Fat Lolli on Amazon, it'll come out. And we have a YouTube channel, which I really go into behind the scenes. So it's Anthony Lolli on YouTube. And I show my competitions, what it's like, how we meal prep, what our mindset is, a bunch of stuff. So you guys are welcome to watch that. That's free to watch. And of course, Radical Body Transformations Facebook community group. If you're looking for motivation, encouragement to see other people losing weight, gaining muscle, you're more than welcome to join the Radical Body Transformations Facebook group.
All right, we'll make sure to put that information in our show notes as well, so people can just go in and click on some links. Anthony Lolli, I know you're a busy guy. I know you got workouts and business meetings in your day. I appreciate you taking this time for me and our audience. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.